Yes, from her work in The Big Bang Theory, True Blood, and The Bronze, she stars in Night Court, which premieres January 17th right here on NBC. Let's take a look.
I almost didn't recognize you with the beard. In pictures, you always look so put together. Not that the beard isn't a good look. It's a great way to cover up a weird neck. Not that your neck is weird, it's... Wow, look at that view!
That is what sold Sarah on the place.
Sarah, your wife?
She was. So, what brings you to town?
I moved here for a job. I am the new Night Court judge.
Please welcome to the show, Melissa Rauch, everybody. Oh my God, thank you for wearing sweatpants.
Well, thank you for not kicking me out of here. Look, here's the deal.
Yeah.
It's January 5th.
Yep.
I've been in sweatpants for 3 weeks. To be honest, I've been in sweatpants for 3 years. And I tried. I got into hair and makeup. I tried to take the next step, and I couldn't do it.
All right.
So I apologize. I need maximum waistband flexibility at all times.
We're so happy.
And that's what's going on.
I'm so happy about your honesty, because I will say I am very, obviously post-pandemic, I have kept it a little more casual, and I'm very happy with it, but sometimes I feel, when I feel the worst about it is when someone comes up very dressed out.
Oh, well, I'm so glad I can make you feel, you know what, here's the deal. The people that love me the most and the people that I love the most know that I will look like a garbage person in front of you if I love you.
Oh.
So I'm a big fan, and this is actually a sign of love that I look like trash.
Oh my God. I accept this sign of love.
Thank you. Thank you.
Speaking of things we love, we both got young kids. You got a 5 and a 2.
I do.
How's that going?
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome. They're the best. They're into this stage now where they're just climbing on everything.
Yep.
So I'm constantly trying to see like what they're gonna jump off of. And I'm always telling them like, we can't climb on things. But I haven't reached 5 feet yet.
Yeah.
I'm holding out hope. But, so I climb on things.
You're a climber.
I'm a climber.
Yeah.
I have to get dishes down.
So who took this photo?
My kid took that photo.
So this is like so your kid basically caught you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's very hard for you to say
hard.
like no climbing.
I'm so not practicing when I'm teaching. I also want to point out, this is my normal attire. So this is actually dressed up.
Yeah.
Like this is an ensemble compared to what I'm wearing there.
Now we've established that
Exactly.
this is fancy. Yeah. This is very cool, as we saw from the clip. That's John Larroquette, who is one of the stars of the original Night Court. How has it been so far to work with someone like this, a television legend?
Oh my gosh, he's the greatest. He's the best of the best. I grew up such a fan of his, and so to work with him is just such a dream come true. We had this fun moment where it was like halfway, it was towards the end of the season, and we had this scene where we're yelling at each other, and of course, we've established I'm, not the tallest, and he's about 6'4", and I was like, well, how can we make this just like a little more evened out? So we are so lucky to have the iconic original Night Court couch, and I was like, well, I'll just jump up on this so that maybe we're a little bit more, eye to eye, and I jump up and I go flying, like just up in the air so high. People said I was like perpendicular with the ground, and it was one of those moments where I was like, I should have hit the ground already. Like, I've been up here, I'm not that tall. Like, my legs should have come down, and I just felt like I kept on going and going, and I look up and I see John, who's like trying to help me, and he's got a very distinguished, handsome look. He sort of looks now like one of those like Renaissance depictions of God. And I'm looking at him like, is this it? Is this lights out for me? And John Larroquette as God is welcoming me in, and that's how I go. I was kind of okay with it.
I'm glad you survived. Yeah, I'm glad you lived to tell a tale about it.
Yeah.
You got your start as a comedian. You did stand-up here in the city. Mm-hmm. You're an East Coaster. How were your early stand-up days here in the city?
They were great. It was sort of tough stuff. You sort of had to like earn your stripes. And I was one of those people who would hand out flyers in Times Square, like, come see comedy, come see comedy. And then people would just chuck a flyer at your head. And one of the moments that sort of was a a bit of a push to move to LA was I was standing outside a Broadway show and I was trying to get people to come to the Late Show, and it's the middle of February. I was like, come see comedy, come see comedy. And this little girl just looked at me and looked at her mother and was like, Mommy, that is so sad. I was like, yeah. Right.
You had a very novel approach to dating. When I guess must have been when you were here. Explain what garbage pile jumping was.
Okay. So this was I look back at my early days in New York in my 20s, and I was a much more carefree person. Like now I am like hand sanitizer is like I basically bathe in it every night. But back in the day, you know, New York, the streets are lined with trash.
Yep.
A lot of the times.
Not just back in the day.
It's true.
We're having a real throwback era right now.
Okay, it's good to
Very
know.
retro with our garbage. Yeah.
It's good to know that I could still do it. So I would walk down the street with whoever I was dating at the time, and I would use this as a barometer to see if they were worthy of a second date. We would be mid-conversation, and then I would just hurl myself into a pile of trash. And if they laughed, I'd be like, all right, I can roll with you. It's insane.
Yeah.
There could have been dead bodies, hypodermic needles in there, rats.
No, we don't have the best of the trash.
No, that is not high-class trash. But I was like, okay, come and meet my parents. Do you want to have children? No, if you laugh when I try and kill myself in some sewage, then you can be my husband.
Well, now it seems like this maybe did bear out to be the case because you are writing partners with your husband, so he's obviously a very funny person as well.
Oh.
And when you write together, how does that work? How is the spousal dynamic when you sit down to try to be funny?
Well, here's the deal.
Okay.
We're on a set together, and you know we're both.
He writes for Night Court now.
He's a producer on it.
Okay, great.
And when you work together and you live together, you can't there's no water cooler chat.
Yeah.
Right? Like I can't be like, what'd you do last night? Like I know we argued over who's going to do the dishes, and then we watched 10 minutes of a Hallmark movie and fell asleep.
Right.
I know. Or if he was late, he couldn't say that he was stuck in traffic because I saw him sitting at the kitchen table playing fantasy football.
Right, yeah.
It's not gonna happen. And then also when you're married to someone for a long time, you build up resentments at home. And then what's great about working together is then you can build up all the resentments professionally, too. That sounds like we're on the rocks. We're not.
You're better than that.
Yeah, we love each other. We just want all the opportunities to resent each other.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
You grew up in New Jersey. You do not have, I would say, a New Jersey accent. Was that always been the case?
I'm so glad it hasn't come out. It was a really, really thick accent. When I first went to acting school, they were mortified. It just came and I'm like, hi, how's everyone doing? What are you talking about? Romeo, we ever had that Romeo? Yeah. The teachers were like, go to a voice and speech class immediately, and they did. It took a while to lose it. It comes out.
And I know you got to see some family, obviously, on this trip, which is great. You did the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, which was a cool way to promote Night Court. Was your family excited to see you doing something like that?
You would think they would be.
Yeah.
I thought it was like the crown jewel of my professional career it was just like a recorded segment saying, they asked me a few questions about what's your Thanksgiving family traditions? And I was like, my family, who I've watched this with every year since I'm a kid, they're gonna lose their minds. And so the clip that got on, I said something like, one of my favorite Thanksgiving traditions is arguing with my family, and we're from Jersey and we do it well. And my mom didn't mention anything at Thanksgiving about it. And I was like, did you guys see the parade? Mom's like, mm-hmm. Yeah, we saw it. Yeah. A lot of my friends called and they saw it too. And said they saw you. And I was like, did you like it? She's like, yeah, you were great. You were great. And you said we argued. We don't argue so much. I don't know if we argue. I was like, we totally argue. What are you talking about? All we do is argue. We don't argue.
Well, that is a perfect, I would say that's a new Thanksgiving tradition for you to start an argument during the parade that can carry over to the night.
Agree.
Hey, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much
Congratulations
for
on the
having
show.
me.
Melissa Rauch, everybody. Night Court premieres January 17th here on NBC. We'll be right back with more later.